There are many myths that surround the administration of the COVID-19 vaccines. Vaccines aren't worth the risk is one which I have heard too often, long before we even got confirmation that any were ready to be administered. But vaccination is not a new phenomenon. In fact, most of us have been vaccinated against one or more diseases almost all our lives. It's been one of the most impactful public health tools in recent history. Of course, some vaccines come with allergic reactions or other side effects, even severe ones. But experts and studies will tell you that the incidence of severe adverse reactions from approved and regulated vaccines is rare. Still, this and other myths persist, especially on social media. Your health is in your hands, so I want to encourage you to do your own research, get the actual facts, and make the right choice, as we all work to ensure Jamaica becomes the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business in good health. On that note, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay tuned.
The government of Jamaica is introducing shared corporate services to revolutionize the way it operates. Shared corporate services will utilize the latest technology, leaner processes and service standards to drive efficiency and effectiveness in the public sector. The Transformation Implementation Unit is working to streamline public services in 7 operational areas: human resource management, information and communication technology, asset management, procurement, finance and accounts, public relations and communication, as well as internal audit. Shared corporate services is a tried and proven way of improving the delivery of public services. The government of Jamaica is transforming to serve its citizens better. We're building a better public sector for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
Jamaica Promotions Corporation, Jampro, is continuing its thrust of promoting Jamaican investment and trade opportunities in Japan. Joining us today on Get the Facts is Gabriel Heron, Marketing Vice President at the corporation. Stay tuned as he tells us more.
Welcome to Get the Facts. This is the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Theodore Henry, sitting in today for Enthros Campbell. Today we'll be talking about the promotion of investment and trade through Jampro's Honorary Investment Advisor Initiative and the Economic Development Program. Our resource person is Vice President of Marketing at Jampro, Gabriel Heron. And Mr. Heron, welcome to Get the Facts.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
Much appreciated. I'm doing well.
All right. So our time is going, so let's just jump right into it.
Yes.
Jampro has been partnering with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade to promote Jamaican investment and trade opportunities among persons overseas through the HIA, the Honorary Investment Advisor Initiative, and the EDP program. So let's start with the HIA initiative. Give us a breakdown and tell us what it's for, what prompted it, and give us a little background about the initiative itself.
Okay, so let me pull back a little bit as well, because what I want to clarify, and thanks for the question, is so the partnership between Jampro and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade it started really in June last year. July. The initiative started last year. This is the Economic Diplomacy Program, right? We actually signed the official MOU earlier this year in January.
Oh, okay.
Now, coming under, and what the Economic Diplomacy Program is really a program to drive economic development in Jamaica through the utilization of the diplomatic missions and consular posts. So we're talking about embassies, ambassadors, honorary consuls, staff members across the globe that work from within the Jamaican diplomatic space. So that's the Economic Diplomacy Program. So for argument's sake, we have discussions with honorary consuls, with ambassadors, and they would in turn represent Jampro's or Jamaica's business interests as relates to investments and trade.
These are Jamaicans we're talking about.
Yes.
Representing Jamaica.
Yes, under the EDP, the honorary consuls may not necessarily be Jamaicans, but they will probably have some kind of Jamaican affiliation.
Okay.
Right?
Understood.
So what you may find, for argument's sake, you may have an honorary consul in let us say a country as far-reaching as New Zealand, for argument's sake. Yeah. They may not be Jamaican, but they may have Jamaican connection. They may have lived in Jamaica for a while, Jamaica business interests, but they have an understanding of the Jamaican landscape and business landscape. So that's the economic diplomacy program, right? Now, where the honor investment advisors come in now is that they are now more aligned with business interests and business networking and opening those doors, and there's a difference.
Yes.
And I see the look, the perplexed looks like, well, hold on there. What's the real difference here? So the difference really, it's about diplomatic status.
Right.
So, for argument's sake, an honorary consul has diplomatic status. An investment advisor is really a business moniker that they're representing the country or facilitating business interests of the country.
So it's like a hat that they wear.
Correct. And it gives them some status as well, but it also enables them to open doors on our behalf. So whereas we can't necessarily assign diplomatic status to the honor investment advisors, it still enables them to represent us.
Right.
In terms of business engagement.
So you've told us what they do and what's expected of them, and a little bit about the status. I want to get an idea, and on behalf of our viewers, what goes into becoming an honorary investment advisor? All
right. So the idea is, and there's a criteria, as you rightfully expect. The idea is that because of Jampro's mandate to really drive investment and trade into the country, and we're talking about large investment projects now, the requirement is really to have that person at senior level engagements, to be able to speak to C-suite executives, to be able to open the doors to C-suite executives, founders, the industry leaders, to facilitate those kind of business interests and investments that we may particularly be interested in. For argument's sake, Jamaica right now is a key location for outsourcing. Many persons across the globe don't necessarily recognize that. They still say Jamaica as a tourist destination, etc., etc. How is that represented in a business space environment within Europe, for argument's sake? I'm at a meeting and I'm an honor investment advisor, and I can say, actually, Jamaica is the #1 country for outsourcing in the Caribbean. So that kind of familiarity, face-to-face present, is where the honor investment advisor will step in. In terms of so that is our priority. So you'd have to have some amount of seniority within the business space.
And I can based on what you've said so far, I can understand where the diplomacy aspect comes in, because you mentioned this falls under the economic diplomacy program. So I can see where that ties in.
Absolutely.
What else?
Absolutely. So another thing is there has to be some amount of connection with Jamaica. Some skin in the game, whether it's familial, whether it's business, but there has to be some allegiance.
Not just
another. And it's volunteer, really. So it really has to be that you really want to help and you really want to support. And there are a lot of Jamaicans out there who are interested, and there's a criteria because we have to balance it as well. And it's a relatively the honor investment advisor program. We're driving it now. It has been established for a while, but because we've recently put a lot of energy behind the economic diplomacy program, so it now follows through that the honor investment advisor program is now going to get that extra push.
I see.
Right.
We're going to go to a break shortly, but we have a little time to answer this one.
Okay.
Are there any success stories so far? Have any of our honorary investment advisors, I know we have one already, but have they done anything that we can look at and say, this is...
It's a little early in the game
to
really state, because in truth, when it comes to investments and imagine a sales funnel, the time frame for it to come to fruition depends on the project. So for argument's sake, if it's an export sale where somebody's looking at purchasing a container of yam, that may have a 3-month time frame. But if it's a hotel investment, it may look at 3 years, 4 years, for argument's sake. So with the program really being revamped and started in June last year, it's a little bit early. As well as the honor investment advisor, Mr. Rodney Reed, the most recent investment advisor who signed on from Japan, we started with him in January. So it's early in the game. So what it is though is about building those business relationships. And as you know, it takes time. It's continuous engagement. Is encouraging them to go to those meetings,
Right.
engage. And a major part of it is the market intelligence. So in other words, what's happening in North Carolina, for argument's sake, that aligns with Jamaica's investment
That
interest.
information comes back
That
here.
information comes back here. So we can tweak what we push out then, for argument's sake.
Understood.
For argument's sake, let us say, so Mr. Reed, the most recent investment advisor, he's situated in Japan. Japan may have interest in doing some freight forwarding or final stage manufacturing for their automobile industry.
Yeah.
How do we position Jamaica in that regard? Do we look at the special economic zone? Do we package it, repackage it, have it, have him facilitate meetings on our behalf?
Right.
And that is how it works.
I'm seeing the vision.
Seeing the vision.
I'm seeing
Wonderful.
the vision. I'm seeing the hierarchy.
Wonderful.
I'm seeing the hierarchy. All right, let's take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. We're going to be discussing more about the Honor Investment Advisor Initiative, and we haven't quite touched on the EDP yet. So stay right where you are. We'll be back shortly.
The Forestry Department is leading the implementation of the National Tree Planting Initiative, which seeks to plant 3 million trees in 3 years, one for each Jamaican plus a little extra for good measure. So I'm inviting each Jamaican to visit our nurseries across the island and collect your tree seedling and make your mark towards this great goal for Jamaica.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We're talking about the promotion of trade and investment in Jamaica's economic development and growth. And the Vice President of Marketing of Jampro, Gabriel Heron, is sitting with us. We've covered so far the HIA program, the Honorary Investment Advisor Initiative, and how it fits under the EDP, the Economic Diplomacy Program. And we're going to continue that line of thought. Sir Heron,
Yes.
So we've spoken about, we do have an HIA right now operating in Japan. All right, we spoke about a bit of the criteria, and we can do some more of that. But what's happening right now with these two programs?
Okay, so under the Economic Diplomacy Program, what we have done, and through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and again, I have to emphasize that this is a partnership, and they've been very good in terms of engaging us in that regard, is that we have structured meetings, webinars, presentations, because a major part of this is the transference of information.
Yes.
So we'll have a webinar, for argument's sake, for the diplomatic missions and consular posts in North America. So we'll update them on, okay, what are the business opportunities, investment opportunities within Jamaica in the outsourcing space, the logistics space.
Right.
So when they are in their engagements, business engagement, they would have that knowledge to pass on, or at least have an understanding of where an opportunity lies, right? So those meetings are taking place on an ongoing basis, so virtually, of course.
Yes, it's
right?
the time.
Which is interestingly, is that was a plan, and when the pandemic kind of occurred, it was like, well, we're continuing as
Ready
planned.
already.
Right, so it was very interesting. But so what we do is, so there are webinars that focus on sectors, and then there are meetings that zero in on territory. So for argument's sake, there is a Europe group that we have smaller business engagement with the group from Europe. That group will encompass ambassadors, honorary consuls, and honor investment advisors. So that is more of an intimate engagement now, where we talk about London, we talk about Italy, France, wherever the case may be.
Right.
So what has been happening is that they've been having a lot of webinars, a lot of meetings. So outside of that now, what the Honor Investment Advisor now does is that when they have their business engagements and their business interests, both with government entities as well as business entities, they would then now plug what the opportunities are, for argument's sake.
Yeah.
Let's say Sea Island Cotton. Many persons in Jamaica don't know about Sea Island Cotton, but it's a wonderful product that we Jamaicans have here, right? There's global interest in Sea Island Cotton.
All right.
Now, how do we there has been an initiative to say, actually, we recognize that Jamaica does this. How can we get in touch? How can we make that connection? The honor investment advisor or ambassador or the honorary consul will make that connection to Jampro to say, hey, there's an interest in Sea Island cotton for argument's sake.
Right.
We would then contact who the supplier is, et cetera, make that business facilitation matchmaking meeting, and then walk through the potential investor to make that trade viable.
Right.
And that's how the process. So it's really about developing relationships. It's really about massaging those relationships to the point where it expands Jamaica's business global network.
Right. And if that happens, I'm sure you're listening and you're watching and you had the question, how does this impact our economy? Well, the question was just answered. By making these connections, it flows two ways.
Flows.
Product, income.
Correct.
Yes.
So one of Jampro's mandate, right, it really zeroes in on business facilitation towards investments and trade.
Sorry to cut you there, but you mentioned that there are, we just started in the first part, relatively recently.
Yes.
I wanted to know what were some targets that we're seeking to meet with this program? Anything like that?
Okay, so in terms of the targets are specific to the honorary consuls or the honor investment advisors. So that would feed into Jampro's overall target.
Right.
So we don't necessarily have targets established for the program because this is the first year.
Right.
So we really don't have anything to benchmark it against. And what we wanted to do was run the program first, have structured targets for the individuals under the program, and then from there we have at least an idea of, okay, we had 10 meetings, 5 webinars, what was the outcome? How many business meetings were facilitated? So those are more the activity targets that we've established. From an investment capex or a jobs perspective, which is what Jampro's targets are, it feeds into that.
All right.
But it's hard to make a determination.
I understand. But we're looking at economic development. We're looking at increased visibility.
Correct.
These are some of the more general things that we're looking at. All right. So, Sir Heron, talk to us about the sectors that are being targeted for growth, because now our viewers have heard about how this can benefit them.
Yes.
I know somebody's out there saying, I want a piece of that. So what are the sectors that we're targeting?
So we all understand and recognize the impact that the pandemic has had.
Yes.
And then any business entity who are operating within a business space would have had to pivot to ensure that continued and efficient survival. Right? So what we've had to do from a Jampro perspective is where are the key resilient sectors, and focus on those in the interim and wait for the others that may have been significantly impacted. For example, tourism and travel. Those have been significantly impacted.
Right.
But we support it as best as possible, but we pivot a bit towards, for example, outsourcing, which has seen a ramping up because there's more need now to outsource. Right? And I will make a plug here. Outsourcing is one of the major sectors. Agribusiness is a major sector that we've pivoted to. Logistics, for argument's sake. And we've also looked at, as you know, energy is also a major activity as it relates to Jamaica going 50% renewables by 2030. So those are some of the main areas of focus that we're looking at. But I want to take the time to also emphasize that one of the sectors that is predicted to be very resilient during this period is technology. Right?
Doesn't have any borders, really.
Exactly. And it is now quite pervasive across the business environment and within every business sector.
Right.
One of the things that's critical to Jamaica and Jampro now is the outsourcing sector, which is what we now call the global services sector. And as we transition from the regular business process outsourcing, we also are expanding now the knowledge process outsourcing and information technology outsourcing and leveraging technology more. Right, so that positions Jamaica well. I just mentioned earlier about Jamaica's strong presence as an outsourcing destination, right, within the Caribbean and regionally. So from a technological, UNCTAD predicting and ensuring that technology is where the resilience will occur. There's significant growth in the technology space and healthcare, right? But of course, Jamaica has a strong presence within the GSS where we can leverage the technology on a global space.
And Jampro is looking forward to driving a lot of that growth.
Correct.
In Jamaica.
Correct.
So
Correct.
you did cover that when we spoke about the plans. This is
Yes.
almost like the maiden voyage, and we're looking forward to expanding
Absolutely.
in the future.
Absolutely.
All right, we're just about out of time, but I'd like you to give a bit of advice.
Yes.
Give a bit of advice to the Jamaicans who are at home, who are abroad, and they're interested in international business linkages. What are some steps that they can take after watching this program?
Okay. What is very critical is filling those gaps and leveraging our relationships.
Yes.
You know, business is a lot of the times about relationships, opportunities, and the gaps. And how do we plug those gaps in terms of opportunities? So if you're a Jamaican overseas, for argument's sake, right, and you recognize that Jamaica has a surplus of yams, right, you may want, just for argument's sake, you may want to reach out to local retailers to see what opportunities are. If you are a C-suite executive overseas, what are the opportunities in the different industries that you can speak to amongst your business executives? Is it outsourcing? Is it logistics? You know, find out what are those opportunities within your areas, right, that we have pivoted to, that you can plug on for Jamaica. It's actually, you know, Jamaica has a fairly advanced outsourcing space,
Right.
you know, global services sector space. We have an advanced logistics space in terms of the projected development. Agribusiness is a major, I didn't mention agribusiness enough, right? That's a major trajectory for us here locally in terms of natural products.
Got it.
And farming and farming is now, or I would say, is a major. That's my train of thought. So agri produce, right?
That's food security, always a big
Food
thing.
security is very important, but as it relates to ensuring that local small farmers collaborate and can facilitate consistency and large volume of export. How do we get those buyers to drive that change and leverage technology as well?
Understood.
I hope I'm not trying to make it too complex, you know.
No man.
Yeah.
I still am with you there.
You with me?
I'm not the brightest person in the room, but I'm with you.
No, man, I don't want to. I have to make sure that the viewers understand. So what it is what are the opportunities? Opportunities are in agribusiness, outsourcing, you know, energy, logistics.
So find the spaces, see if you can fill the gaps.
Correct.
Pivot
Speak
to do so.
within your relationships.
Right.
Correct.
And the word has been resiliency. The word has been gaps. The word has been relationships. And Jampro is all about that. Jampro is all about increasing Jamaica's economic strength and resiliency through greater visibility on the world stage. Viewers, this has been Get the Facts. Our guest was the Vice President of Marketing at Jampro, Gabriel Heron. And for more information on the Honorary Investment Advisor HIA Initiative and the Economic Diplomacy Program, that's the EDP, you may visit dobusinessjamaica.com. That is dobusinessjamaica.com, or call Jampro at 876-978-7755. Until next time, when Get the Facts brings you, as always, more important information, I'm Theodore Henry sitting in for Enthros Campbell. Thanks for watching and take care.
Is your facility approved for COVID-19 testing? The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, through the JANAC Accreditation or Pre-Accreditation Approval Program, validates labs and point-of-care testing facilities such as medical centers. Accreditation safeguards the quality of test results and consumer well-being. Use a JANAC accredited or PAP approved facility for your tests, and let's defeat COVID-19 together. Contact the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, confirming competence, providing confidence in the marketplace.
Do you know what size tires your vehicles use? If you should go to the tire shop right now, would you be able to tell them exactly what tires on your vehicle? Stay tuned as we answer all your tire-related queries in our next Auto Spot feature.
I have absolutely no idea what this is or what it's even used for. But today on Auto Spot, I'm going to be learning all about tires, and who knows, I might even end up changing one myself.
tire is a ring-shaped component that surrounds the rim, which helps to cushion the road feel and offer traction and stability of the vehicle. You have all-purpose tires, which can use in all terrain. You have wet tires. For wet tires, it's for like wet road condition. You can't use a dry tire in the wet season. You get slippage. For the tire to be completely functional, you need the rim. You need air to be inflated in the tire to get it to the correct air pressure so that it's suitable for road condition. A cold tire is when the temperature inside the tire is reduced to like normal road temperature. At that time is the correct time to check the air pressure within the tire to give you an accurate reading. For the hot tires now is when you're driving on the road for a long duration of time and the heat inside the tire builds up and increases the pressure inside the tire. Tire inflation is the pressure inside the tire, which can be in kilopascal, bars, or PSI. There's an instrument called the tire pressure gauge, which I have here with me. You use to take the tire pressure. I can demonstrate for you. First, we'll have to remove the dust cap from off the tire. Place the tire pressure gauge on the tire valve, and it automatically pushes out the tire pressure gauge and give you the correct reading. Tire normally has a manufacture date on the side. From that date in which the tire was produced, you can know when the tire needs to be changed. Within 4 to 6 years of the manufacture date, the tire is due for replacement.
But what if I'm on the road and I have a flat tire? What do I do?
Okay. The first step is to park the vehicle in a secure location, flat surface. Pull up the emergency handbrake, ensure that the vehicle don't run back or anything. Then you gather your tools, including a jack, lug tool for the job. Alright. Here you have the lug. You're gonna place the lug tool on that, ensure that the correct lug tool is fit perfectly, and you push it down in the anti-clockwise position.
Okay.
And you do that for all 5 lugs.
Okay. And it's usually 5 lugs?
No, some vehicles carry 4, some carry 5, some carry 6. But for this application, it's 5.
Okay. So what else do you do after that?
After you remove the lugs, you remove the complete wheel and you have it all for yourself. Then you go for your spare and place it back on here and screw on back. You tighten back your lugs.
Alright, so this is what you use to tighten it back?
Yeah, this is the lug tool.
So you're going in the other direction?
Yeah, clockwise. Turning. And you always tighten diagonal. Right, you tighten in the clockwise direction.
So which one? Which
Clockwise.
one first?
It can be anyone, but you have to tighten in diagonal. This, then this, and this. Yeah. Cross and cross. So the tire go on, the wheel go on even. And then let down the vehicle, and then you finally torque the lugs to make sure that they are correctly tight.
Where do we usually find the spare tires?
Alright, depending on the vehicle type, sometimes the spare is under the vehicle, on the back of the trunk, or inside the trunk.
So it's not as simple as it seems, but it's clearly doable. It's all in a day's work, well, at least for a newbie like me. But really it should take about 10 to 15 minutes to change. I can promise you there's so much value in learning to get the job done. I certainly feel accomplished.
This is where the magazine ends for today, but if you would like to see more content like this, visit our YouTube channel. We also have all the latest news and updates on our social media pages and website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.